Okay, right. Well, first of all, I just want to thank all those that are here who've come to join me. And I also want to thank Paul for making this possible. I am not in my comfort zone. My legs are jittering, my feet are moving. Put me in front of a spreadsheet and I will wax lyrical, but put me in front of a screen and it's a complete nightmare. So I just hope I can keep going. Anyway, I want to say thank you to whoever has arranged the sunshine. I think at the moment, we're all grateful for small mercies and anything that's positive at the moment. So yeah, thank you, whoever it is. So anyway, and I think it's really important at the moment to be positive and to be grateful and to concentrate. It's very easy to panic. At the moment, people are panicking about money for all sorts of different reasons. The problem with panic is it causes stress, it causes worry, and when you're worried and when you're stressed, you can't think clearly and you can't think creatively. And we're all going to need creativity at the moment because things have changed drastically. I'm not sure about you, but I just find the situation completely surreal. When I was celebrating the new year, I thought the only big bad bogeyman was Brexit. That's my personal opinion. Now we don't even talk about it. And all of a sudden we've got coronavirus, which is actually worse because not only is there possibly an issue with the economy, but also with health. I think we really need to be very careful about both. We're all in isolation at the moment. Frankly, I don't feel isolated. I have never felt as connected as I do now. There are lots of people I haven't heard from who are reaching out and connecting with me. I'm really grateful for that. All these meetings, thank you, Paul. These meetings are great. You're doing an absolutely fab job. But I really don't feel isolated. I'm going out in the garden. I'm speaking to neighbours through the fence. There's a lot of connection going on. So I'm not sure why people say isolating, but anyway. I think the problem at the moment is that everybody's been taken by surprise at the speed at which this has developed. We weren't really talking about coronavirus, although it was kind of hovering around before Christmas. And then, of course, when it started hitting the media, it was over in China. We thought, well, it's not going to affect us. But actually, yeah, here we are now. And everything seems to be in lockdown. We're not only in the house, but actually businesses are more or less in lockdown. That's quite a scary prospect. But I would say don't panic again. Please don't panic. Because I feel very positive about the situation. Yes, there's going to be issues. Money's going to be a problem. We're going to have to be extra careful. But I think a hell of a lot of good things are going to come out of this situation. I think it's time to reset our businesses, to rethink what we're doing, to find different ways of doing business, either for existing clients or looking for potentially new clients. I've got a garden designer who we've been talking about it, and he's now offering sessions online. You can take videos of your garden. He can look at the garden and give tips on how to move plants. This is the ideal time for moving plants. So moving plants, stepping them sort of one step at a time as to what they can do. So there's lots of different things that you can do virtually that you possibly hadn't thought of before. So allow your creative juices to flow and find different ways to run your business. And again, I'm going to say it again, don't panic, because panic, stress and worry are negative and they won't help. You can do a lot about your cash flow, and I think at the moment people are a bit concerned, very concerned about their cash flow. There seems to be a lot of talk of the government helping businesses. The problem is there's uncertainty about exactly who's going to get help, how many of us are going to get help, how you're going to get help, and where that money's and when that money is going to come through. I'm really pleased that the self-employed are getting a bit of financial help, but of course it's only up to 50,000 turnover or profit, and those earning 50,000 and 1 pence aren't going to get that help. So it's a bit harsh, I suppose, that there's a cut-off, but that's the way it goes. For small business directors like myself, unfortunately at the moment there is no help, but hopefully maybe the government might consider that later on. The positives that you should be looking at and the things that you can control are the things that you should really be concentrating on at the moment. Your health you can control, keep inside and keep away from people. your cash flow, to a certain extent, you can't control, but there are things about your cash flow that you can control. And that's what I wanted to talk about, is cash flow. A lot of people ignore their cash flow. Cash flow is absolutely vital for your household and for your business. You should be keeping tabs on it. You should be in control of it. And I'm really surprised at the number of people who let things ride. They just think, well, you know, I'll just spend and just hope for the best. You can't afford to do that at the moment. So that's why I wanted to talk about cash flow. And not just in your business, also on the personal side. In fact, the first thing you should be doing is looking at the cash flow on your personal side, because when you see how much money you're going to spend on the personal side, that will determine how much you need your business to be able to pay you. So a lot of people are a bit worried about cash flow. I've heard people saying, I have no idea how to do a cash flow analysis or a cash flow forecasting. These are technical terms, and they are quite scary terms. You don't have to do cash flow analysis or cash flow projections as they suggest in business. There's lots of apps out there, there's lots of software that can trial different scenarios, and they've got these great big spreadsheets with lots of columns and percentages that are quite bamboozling if you're not really good with figures. There is a simple way of doing a cash flow, which probably some of you already do it. So I apologize if I'm going over what you've already done, but I've spoken to 3 people this week who hadn't got a clue what to do. And when I went through this simple process, they said at the end of it, they felt so much better, and actually they could see that they were going to be cutting costs, a lot more costs than they thought they were going to be cutting. So it made them feel a lot happier, and that's what I really want to do. So the first thing I would suggest that you do is on the personal side. I would suggest that you go into your online bank and you pull down a statement for the last full month, which is February, and you print it off. It's as simple as that. When you print it off, get yourself a bit of paper, a highlighter pen, and go through your bank statements, pulling off and jotting down all the payments that you have to pay, your unavoidables, which are things like your rent, your mortgage, your energy bills, your water, council tax, TV tax, insurance if it's monthly, your loan payments, don't forget your loan payments, mobile, home phone, or broadband if you're paying out of your personal bank account and not your business bank account. Anything to do with Sky, I don't know, your Netflix, Amazon, anything that you pay on a regular basis, jot them down. Add in food. Have a look at your credit card bill as well. If there are sort of regular payments you pay out your credit card bill or through a debit card, jot them all down. Then take a highlighter pen and highlight payments that you can cut out. This is the time to be looking critically at your expenses. Is there anything that you can do without for the next 3 months? If so, either you may need to, well, you'll need to watch maybe some things that are on contract you won't be able to get out of, but if there are things that you can easily get rid of, do it. Either you inform the provider, or you can simply go onto your online bank accounts and hit manage payments, call up your direct debits, and you can cancel them. It's as simple as that. There are other payments like your broadband, your phone, things like that, even your insurance. You can call up and ask under this. These are exceptional circumstances. People are open to working with you if you really are having problems, and negotiate discounts. They may say no, but it's worth asking. If you don't ask, you don't get. So try it. If, for example, you are expecting, I don't know, an annual payment to crop up in the next 3 months, and normally you pay in one go, call and see if you can spread the payments. Another thing that you can do is have a look at the timing of these payments. You may find that with direct debits, you pay them all at the beginning of the month. Call up the providers or the suppliers and ask if you can possibly pay at a different time of the month, so that you're not paying in one go. By spreading it, that might make it easier for you to, especially if you're expecting money in from some of your clients that still haven't paid, that might just help for you to pay it. Ask yourself for things like Sky. Do you really need Sky? I mean, if you've got Netflix, do you need Sky as well? You're not going to get any sports at the moment, so consider cancelling Sky. They may actually cut your cost, or they may, I don't know, they may even waive it because they're desperate to keep customers. So really be looking critically at the costs that you are spending your money on. Do you really need them? Can you do without them for 3 months? If you want to resume them at the end, then you could possibly renegotiate better price because technically you are, I suppose, a new customer. So that's what you do. Anyway, when you've finished all that, tot up how much those costs are on the personal side. Look at what your spouse, your partner, anybody that you're living with, what they're bringing in, and whatever is left is what you need your business to at least cover. You will probably find that already you have cut a lot of the costs that you normally have. You won't be out in your car, so you won't have fuel costs. You won't be using your car as much, so there won't be as much wear and tear, so the chances of breaking down your car are less, so you won't have those pesky garage bills. If, for example, you have an MOT coming up in the next 3 months, consider declaring SORN. That's your statutory off-road notification. You can declare a temporary SORN on your car if you've got 2 cars in the household and you only need one at this moment because you're not going out in your car very much. Consider SORNing one of your cars. You can easily take that declaration off when you then get out and about when this is all over. Insurance, I guess, potentially if you've got a car, you need to consider this very carefully. But if you've got a car that's in a garage or if it's on a driveway and you can lock your gate, potentially you could consider reducing your insurance or maybe waiving it for a couple of months. But think very carefully because there's always a possibility of having your car stolen or even a fire or whatever. So yeah, it's just looking critically at all your costs and seeing what you can feasibly reduce. So once you've got all your costs in a bit of paper, that will give you a bit more clarity, and that's what you need at the moment as to what your spend is. And as I say, the experience I've had with the people I've gone over this with is that they are really surprised at how much less they're going to be spending, and that's made them feel a lot more relieved. So once you know how much your business is going to earn, do the same with your business. Print off the statement, the bank statement for the last full month, February, and go through all the costs that you have at the moment. You will find you are saying, oh, I don't have that cost, I'm not spending it. Oh, I won't have that coffee, or I won't be going out and getting fuel, or I won't be doing this, I won't be spending money on that. And you'll find that actually your spend is an awful lot less than you normally have and that you would expect. So that in itself is a bit of a relief and probably make you feel a bit better, I hope. All right. So the whole message, I think, for me is make sure that you are looking at reducing your costs, that you are cutting out your costs, that you are deferring any costs that you possibly can. Be brutal at this moment. We all need to conserve cash. Not all of us are getting help from the government, so we need to do what we can. Use your common sense. There are costs that you don't want to cut out in your business, especially marketing at the moment is absolutely vital. So be prepared to spend a bit of money on your marketing because that will help you to hit the ground running when this is all over. But do reach out and do also consider something which I hesitate about using a technical term, but share services. So if you know of somebody who could potentially need your services and you need their services, join up, connect, and do it both for free. Help people out, and people are really open to that. And don't procrastinate. That's another message I want to say is don't delay cutting out your costs. Don't delay asking for help. Do it now. If you delay, it could cost your business dearly and cost you a lot of stress and anxiety. Act now. That's really, really important. So that's basically what I wanted to really say. If anybody wants anything more complicated in a cash flow, if, for example, you're still able to work, but you've reduced your activity, I can help you to look at different scenarios where you've maybe lost 40–50% of your business. How would that affect it if you could cut down on 60% of your costs? So you can trial different scenarios So, get in touch with me. I can do those cash flow analysis and forecasting for you or with you or whatever. So that's it, really. Just want to go over a few tips, and maybe there are 1 or 2 other tips in there just to close. So to recap on what I've said, it's get rid of all the costs that you don't need, reduce what you can, and spread your annual payments, change your payment dates, negotiate better deals. If you're waiting for clients to pay you, try and defer any supplier payments till after they've paid you. I will say something about chasing up customer payments, because I know it's a bit tricky at the moment, but I'll do that at the end. Calling suppliers to defer payments, and consider a mortgage payment holiday, both on the personal side and the business side. I don't know if is James there? I can't see. Did James make it to the meeting?
He's there, yeah.
James, are you there? I don't know, is it still the case that potentially if you take a payments holiday for a mortgage, that could actually put a negative on your credit score?
We don't know yet. That's the reality of it. What's going to happen on that side of things? My advice from the start has been, with regard to the mortgage payment holiday, please use that as a last resort, not the first thing. I'm just looking on this following Stephen's message that Boris has got coronavirus. Great, isn't it? Wonderful. So that'll help the markets. The Prime Minister getting coronavirus. So I would say, unless you can really afford desperately not to pay your mortgage, then don't rely on that scheme, because it's not it's a holiday. You come back, you have to pay that. And I suspect what will happen is that the capital that's going to be stored up by not paying it will then be added onto your loan balance, and then you have to pay interest on it for the next 10, 15, 20 years. So I don't think in the long term that will be a good move, but I understand that needs must, and some people have got to pay it. So
yeah,
it's individual circumstances, isn't it? Like everything.
Yeah. So I think as James says, that's a kind of a last resort. But we don't know how long this is going to go on for. So it's potentially possible. If you are paying rent, then call your landlord to ask for maybe reduced payments for the next 3 months. Don't ask not to pay anything, because they've got to make money as well. So yeah, be open to that. If you pay VAT, then the government is saying that during the next 3 months, any payments that are due will be deferred until next April 2021. But I would say to anybody who's on the direct debit for paying VAT, cancel your direct debit, because I don't trust HMRC systems to have stopped the automatic withdrawing of money. So make sure that you cancel your direct debit and then resume it after this is all over. If you are due any income tax, call HMRC. Don't just not pay, call HMRC and ask for payment terms. They may even again defer it to, I'm not sure what the situation is, defer it to next year as well. If you are paying any loans off, then call up your loan provider and see if you can get a better deal, or talk to James and see if you can get better interest rates on your loan. Again, switch energy providers, phone, mobile, broadband. Be prepared to try and switch. Now is the time not to be loyal to the people you've been paying. Think about how much you can save. You could potentially be eligible for a grant. I'm not sure. I think it's more sort of startups, but for anyone, if you know of anyone that's starting up, they're not getting much help. If they're self-employed, if they're a startup business, then suggest to them that they look on the Chamber of Commerce website or the government website, potentially for a grant. And then a couple of things that could possibly, I'm not sure what the banks are doing, but I know that normally many banks offer a £25,000 loan on the personal side. Normally this is without question. If you're a customer of the bank, they don't ask you questions, they offer it to you, and normally it's without security. you could potentially take out a loan on the personal side and then lend it to your business, and that would go into your direct to loan account. And make sure you can afford to pay your repayments though, but that is a possibility if you're really desperate for money. And one last thing is there is such a thing called a 0% balance transfer card. Most of you probably have heard about this, but generally speaking, when the going was good, you could get at least about £5,000 if your household was earning more than £20,000. Some cards offer it in cash, some just pay off any balance on your credit card, but it is an interest-free. You pay a small fee, which is about 2-3% of the amount that you're taking out. But some cards offer up to about 36 months. So 2-3% fee is not an awful lot over 3 years if you can get one. The good thing about this is it is very flexible about the repayments. As long as you pay the minimum amount, which is normally really small, you can pay as much as you want each month. And if at the end of 3 years, or however long it is, you haven't paid it all off, you can simply take out another 0% balance transfer card. So those are a few tips. I hope that's helped. I hope you've got something out of it. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Very useful, Margot. Someone else? Oh, there. You can probably hear it finally. Does anybody have any questions for Margot?
No, I've got a quick question for the group though. I mean, I know that the government has said that there's all this money available to help small businesses, limited companies, etc. But has anyone actually gone through the process? I've applied for universal credit and I haven't heard anything back. That was about 3 or 4 days ago. Has anyone gone through the process and got anything out of it yet?
James, do you want to comment on that? Because you touched on it a bit yesterday in your webinar, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I touched on the talking about the government's Corona Business Loan Interruption Scheme, which sits slightly outside what Bob's talking about because that's being administered by banks rather than the government. So while it's a government program, all the actual applications, the telephone calls are actually taken by the banks. I mean, that's an absolute nightmare. I mean, if you're trying to get through to your bank at the moment on the phone, you're looking at a 2-3 hour wait unless you're very lucky. So that's a bit of a nightmare. With regard to things like universal credits and any government department, I think patience is going to be the key, Bob, and the same for everyone. These poor guys, the ones who aren't self-isolating, you know, they've probably got a workload which they'll never seen before and never see again. Yeah. And I think genuinely we have to show an element of human sympathy for them, that they're probably lowish paid workers being asked to do ridiculous hours in very challenging circumstances. So while it's not easy to say, you know, I need to know this, I need to know that, there's 10 million people in this country at the moment in the same boat. So I don't have any experience of trying to contact these lines myself. The experience I'm hearing online is very similar to yours, Bob, in that it's taking forever to get through, and then inboxes are getting rejected emails because they're too full and all sorts of stuff. Yeah, and I think we're just going to have to be patient and grin, to be honest.
Was it 500,000 applications they had this week?
Was it?
Yeah, something like that. Something ridiculous. Yeah.
They probably get you know, a few thousand a day normally, don't they? No, it's
that's what they've said. They just want
there's only so many phone lines, aren't there?
Yeah. No, like I said, I was just wondering what anybody else's experience was, but bit shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because I mean the government's been taken by surprise as well. I mean this is a new situation for them, and you know, I wouldn't wish to be part of the government at the moment. I certainly wouldn't wish to be Boris, especially as seems to have coronavirus, which isn't very nice at all. But I did want to mention one thing. I did have a question not so long ago about what do you do if your customers owe you money. Just how do you chase up? And do you chase up? I guess it depends on how overdue the invoice is. I mean, you need cash flow as much as anybody, really. And if you have provided a service for someone before this all happened, then you deserve to be paid, because you simply didn't know that the situation was going to crop up. You do have to be sympathetic to your customers. They could genuinely have cash flow problems, so be sympathetic and empathetic and whatever, but in your business you have no obligation whatsoever to give credit terms. You would be justified in asking all your clients to pay you straight away as soon as you've provided that service or sold that product. What I would do personally is I would call them up, talk to them, and ask them when they think they're going to be able to pay you, they may come up and say, well, yeah, I could probably pay you 3 monthly or over 3 months, and that's fine. If not, they may say, well, it might take 6 months. Okay, fine, then you need to think about whether or not that's okay. So give them 6-month payment terms, but you deserve that payment. You provided that service, so work with them so that you both are happy. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anything else for Margot while she's live and available to us?
That's a kind of a halfway house, isn't it? Because this time you would like to help and care about your client, but at the same time they have to pay you as well, but they can't at the minute because of the situation. So it is really a very fine line in how often and how much you have to chase, because everybody's in the same boat. So that's where exactly the problem is, I believe. And then this is quite a tricky situation. Nobody have thought about this, and see how it goes.
Oh, I think so. And I think potentially if you've done your cash flow and you're actually a little bit better off than you thought, and you think you could possibly last out for 12 weeks, then give them a payment holiday. It will make you look good, and make you feel good as well, because you're helping people. I think, again, it's all about really helping people, and be prepared to do things for free, or do things extra. Think outside the box. So yeah.
I've had a couple of clients this week.
Help your clients at this time, then they will never, in fact, forget you. So that's the positive side of it, in the sense.
Yeah.
Stephen.
Yeah, I was just saying, I've had a couple of clients this week wanting to instruct me for debt collection matters, debt recovery matters, and both of their questions were, what do you think the chances of getting paid are? and you have to be pretty pragmatic right now, that for many people they're going to be in a difficult position to pay, and so I think you might want to, even from the business side of things, sometimes be kind.
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
You can afford to do it.
Yeah.
I think debt collectors are hopefully a last resort.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't. I think that's kind of harsh, really. And even if somebody's got a bit of money, I think it's still a bit harsh. Debt collectors. I mean, it's we're all scared. I mean, a lot of us may have a bit of money, we're scared. So the debt collectors, I wouldn't get debt collectors involved at all. Really. So, but yeah. It's tricky. It's tricky, but I mean, I do think that this situation is a time to rethink everything, and just find different ways to upsell and cross-sell your business, and reach out, help people. Stay connected with people. That's the most important thing. Really.
I think it's in interesting times, if interesting is the right word to use. I think businesses are really looking at their business right now. What can they do? How can they survive? What's available to them? Can they innovate? I mean, if take my business, for example, it's been a massive, this week feels like a month for me, the amount of stuff that I've had to do to, put my business online and learn this technology and stuff like that. But I genuinely see this as an opportunity now, because this was in my radar to do at some point, to use technology online. It's just sort of like forced the issue. And a number of other businesses I've spoken to have said, I've always been thinking about this, but this has now forced the issue. I think, Bob, you particularly have now had to quickly look at how you can move your business onto an online platform for hopefully not too long. But again, that might give you another revenue stream coming through it, mightn't it? I don't know. So yes, it's looking after your cash has always been important. in any business, because the stats say that's what takes most businesses down. I guess it's one benefit of this. People will probably be looking more closely, Margot, won't they, at the cash in their business?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Which is a good thing. Yeah.
You're right. A lot of businesses I see, just sort of tend to stick their head in the sand and don't really pay attention to it. But it's brought to the forefront now, I think. So.
Yeah. Can I just say there is one thing though, is there are always going to be people who, I'm not going to say benefit. I don't really mean that, but there are people who are going to make money in this situation. We're all going to eat, so people in the food industry are still going to make a lot of money. So if your niche, for example, is pubs and restaurants in the leisure sector, change your niche. Look at your marketing and try and, do your marketing for the sectors that are going to still earn money at the moment. So be flexible. Yeah.
Barrett, did you have a question? I don't know whether you were waving.
It's not so much a question as a scenario. I mean, basically, one of the things I would say is that yes, we are in business, and yes, we are, there to make money. I don't think we should feel guilty. One of the things that's happened in my particular situation is that the cost of our goods that we supply has skyrocketed. So what happened is that I'm having to charge my clients a higher premium, in order to make the same amount of profit as I was doing before, or even comparable. But you get this feeling of embarrassment that you're actually overcharging the client, because the client doesn't know the cost price. What he knows is what you're charging them, and they'll come back and say, well, hang on a minute, this same commodity cost me half or 2/3 of what you're charging me today. And you feel a little bit embarrassed, but then you have to sit back and think, hang on a minute, where do you draw the line? Where do you sell at the same price previously and make a loss, or do you, and these are the kind of thoughts that I had to go through. And I just wanted to share that with the group to see if anybody else had that same feeling.
Yeah, I haven't had that. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Bob.
No, sorry to say, Barrett, I haven't had that issue, but I know what you mean. I mean, all you can do is explain why you need to charge those high prices. Yeah, maybe you could absorb maybe you could absorb the cost if it was a small rise, but if it's skyrocketing, you can't do it, and you still have to pay those prices. So you've no choice but to pass it on, I think.
No.
I think it's communication. Communication's key, isn't it? I think you've got a great opportunity if you've got less to physically do, because there's less face-to-face meetings, for reconnecting with historic customers, current customers. Just letting them know that you're there. If there is unfortunate news like that, the price is going to have to go up, for you to stay in business, then presumably that affects the whole of your sector as well. So it's not like necessarily they could go elsewhere, because they'll probably still have the same issues. So it's just making sure that your clients and prospects know where you stand and what's going on. And I think communication potentially can go up now with your prospects and clients, because when we're fighting the good fight of in normal circumstances, some of the day-to-day stuff takes over, and you don't think about connecting with the clients and prospects as much as you might be able to do now. And I think it was said on previous
Kimo, come on, Kimo.
Hello. I think I said it on previous videos, how you show up today in today's climate as a business, well, I think will impact you in the future. So if you're seen to be profiteering, if you're seen to be, not supportive of businesses that are around you, then I think that will do you some harm in the long run. The Wetherspoons guy, I don't know what his surname is, Tim. It's just getting to the state where I think people are going to boycott Wetherspoons. I genuinely do. I think, last night I was quite moved at 8 o'clock when people came out in the streets to clap and acknowledge the carers and the NHS workers. Yeah, seeing people do that, it's quite a moving experience. And I think, what the guy at Wetherspoons is doing will damage his business going forward.
Sports director going to be hit by that thing as well, aren't they?
Yeah. I agree. Certainly last night I was really moved, because my eldest son is a doctor in A&E, and he's in the ICU, the intensive care units. He's right on the front line. So it was incredible last night. But Mark, what is it? Sorry, I don't know. What do you sell then? What are your products?
Basically, we are in IT. So we sell. Obviously at this time we're selling a lot of laptops because people want to work remotely. So, you know, the cost of laptops is just basically gone out of the roof. You know?
Yeah. I mean, could you sell reconditioned? I mean, are there other options? You know, could you make it cheaper for them by selling reconditioned laptops?
In the market, you know, the stocks aren't, and those that have it will charge you a greater price for the same commodity. That's all.
Yeah. Could you, I mean, could you, for example, if the price was going up on the laptop, could you offer something for free, like, I don't know, some training sessions or a bit of support for free, kind of soften the blow of the price going up by giving them something free?
What we've done is we've knocked down the install charges, you know, to probably half or less than half of what we would normally charge. There is a certain cost because the engineer's time has to be covered. But what we have done is reduce, you know, obviously margins all over to try and make it palatable, but or not to be seen to be profiteering. That's the most important thing, because as Paul quietly states, you know, in the short term, they'll go for the deal. In the long term, they'll never come back to you if they think that there's any chance that you're trying to make money out of them.
I think that's where the communication comes in, doesn't it? Make sure
exactly.
Clear, you know, where you're coming from. Govinda, you've been very patient. I saw your hand up. Do you want to take the floor?
Thank you. And thank you guys for inviting me to this forum. First time I ever joined this event, so thank you for doing that. I've had some interaction with some of you already. I just want to share with you some of the things that we've been doing. Just for a bit of background, we specialise in helping businesses reduce costs, save money. I've done this in 20 years in corporate life, and I set up my own businesses a couple of years ago. Our sectors are hotels, pubs and holiday parks. And in the last week or so, we've redirected our efforts from focusing on those sectors to working with our supply chain partners. So our suppliers that would typically supply hotels, their hotels are shut. So we've been redirecting some of those products, face masks, PPE, sanitizers, and putting it into the NHS channels or frontline services or the local vulnerable type of thing. And so we're kind of positioning ourselves as helping our clients with their recovery plans as and when they come, when the time is right. But just to say we're here as and when you need us, and you know, we'll do what we can to help you during this difficult period.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Actually, you know, there's people that are diverting their manufacturing processes, aren't they, to produce what, you know, is needed right now versus what they might ordinarily be doing. So no, it's you know, I'm quite encouraged by what I see in terms of how businesses are adapting, evolving, and you know, keeping up the good, you know, the British spirit, if you like, and being positive in this situation. I know we're early on in, and that might sort of change as time goes on. But you know, what can we do? It is we're in it. I think we've just got to do our best to sort of survive it and get through the other side. Which I think those people that are innovative and adapt themselves will be here on the other side, as long as, you know, cash flow permits, Margot. That's always the key, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think it's the compassion that people are showing at the moment that really I find really heartening. And this is where you will make yourself memorable, is by showing compassion and by reaching out and going that extra mile, doing freebies, helping people, reconnecting. And you've got a good reason to reconnect with people you haven't spoken to without them thinking that you're trying to sell to them. Just reach out and just say to them, you know, I haven't spoken to you for a long time. You know, how are you? And are you okay? Don't mention anything about your products or services. Just reach out to them.
Yeah,
it's a good reason to.
Yeah, I mean, that's my plan as well, because what I was going to do is, particularly some of my older clients, just get back in touch with them, people I haven't spoken to for a while, and just see how they're doing.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I have time.
And they appreciate it, but you know, so
yeah,
right.
I'm sure Stephen will appreciate it, Paul.
Yeah. So thanks ever so much, Margot. I think that was really useful. Just to sort of like get us in tune with what we should be looking at.